Now we're getting into those closer to making the top cut here at the Nerdy Needs Midseason Showdown, and we're about to get into our round 3 battle, which is going to be between two more incredible Florida players here in Don Check and Andrew Navarro, ladies and gentlemen. And in all fairness, guys, you are going to be in for a fun treat with this game, not only because Don and Andrew are two of the best trainers currently in the state of Florida, but if you look at their teams, they are mirrors. They have the exact 6 Pokemon that were used on the Utrecht winning team a couple weeks ago. There's just a couple of tweaks that Don and Andrew have made on their teams, and most notably, Don's has the changes here, because as we look at Andrew's team, Andrew is running the Articuno, Alolan Ninetales, Hisuian Arcanine, Ogerpon Wellspring, Landorus Incarnate, and the Raging Bolt. And with Andrew's team, it is straight up a copy of the Utrecht team, which is a very good team. That Choice Specs Articuno with the Sheer Cold, ladies and gentlemen, that is a guaranteed one-hit knockout move if it hits with that 30% accuracy. But getting that Snow Cloak is major for the Alolan Ninetales with that Snow Warning activating alongside the Helping Hand. Meanwhile, we look at Don Check, and he makes 2 slight changes on the Utrecht team. Now, Don is known for running snow. He is one of the best snow users in the game today. He is bringing the same 6 Pokemon that Andrew has. The difference is his Articuno is running Protect and the Never Melt Ice over the Choice Specs and Sheer Cold, and his Ninetales Alola is not Terra Fire, it is Terra Water, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the only changes that Don has made from the Utrecht team that Andrew is running. This is a mirror match. If there were ever a mirror match, all we're missing is both of these trainers having a mirror in front of them so they can literally do the Spider-Man meme and point at each other, because that is straight up what we're getting into here, ladies and gentlemen, between Andrew and Don. And it remains to be seen which one of the Pokemon our trainers are going to start with here on this tournament, ladies and gentlemen, because one of these trainers is going to move to 3-0, and in a mirror match, it all comes down to who can play the mirror the best. That is straight up, ladies and gentlemen, because it could go down either which way. That one Pokemon could get that all-important critical hit and potentially do enough to knock out their opponent in one shot, thereby making it easier for your opponent to get that win. But we're getting into game 1 here as Andrew leads with the Hisuian Arcanine and the Ogerpon Wellspring. Meanwhile, Don sets up the snow with the Alolan Ninetales and the Landorus. As Andrew goes for the Intimidate on the Hisuian Arcanine, which does not really affect the Ninetales or the Landorus, who are predominantly special attackers in this format. But now with the Hisuian Arcanine being on the field, it is choice banded, ladies and gentlemen. So whatever move it clicks on this turn, it will be locked into that move. So Andrew has to play very carefully around what he wants to do with his team, because not only would the Arcanine be locked into a move, if Ogerpon doesn't potentially go for like a follow me, it would be subjective to a 4-time super effective hit. But Andrew opts to switch out the Arcanine and brings in Articuno as Landorus going for the Protect here, just trying to scout out a potential turn here as Ninetales going for that Aurora Veil. The Aurora Veil coming up first on Don's side and thereby having damage on his side. Meanwhile, Ogerpon goes for the Ivy Cudgel, and with the Aurora Veil and the Snow buff on the Alolan Ninetales, that bonk really didn't do much on the side of Ogerpon. But now Andrew is locked into the Articuno. It is also Choice Specs variant, ladies and gentlemen, so we have to keep in mind that potentially whatever Articuno goes for, it will be locked into that move. So it could potentially go for a Blizzard, it could go for an Ice Beam, it can go for a Freeze Dry, or it could potentially lock itself into Sheer Cold. But Don has activated his Terror Orb. He has flung it at Landorus, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Landorus is playing Halloween. It's going trick-or-treating with an axe in its head, indicating that it has gone from a ground and flying type to a steel type. But Andrew has also activated his Terror Orb, and he flings it at the Articuno. Articuno playing into the snow that it so loves in this generation, with a snowflake on its head, losing its flying type and becoming a pure ice type. However, the Snow Cloak does not negate the Blizzard hitting, but Ogerpon going for that Ivy Cudgel. Landorus going for the Sludge Bomb into the Articuno. Does not do much damage, as Articuno going for the Choice Specs Blizzard and doing big damage on the Ninetales and the Landorus Incarnate, even through that Terra Steel, making it a resisted hit, ladies and gentlemen. That is a big play on Andrew Navarro's side. So now both Terra Orbs have been activated. That Landorus is a Steel type now, while the Articuno is an Ice type. But Articuno is working around its ability to be hard to hit due to that Snow Cloak ability, ladies and gentlemen, negating certain hits by virtue of the evasion boost, as Ninetales goes for the Helping Hand into the Landorus Incarnate to potentially give a little bit of boost here, as Andrew's Ogerpon goes for the Spiky Shield to protect itself for one turn. Landorus going for the Sludge Bomb into the Articuno. It does not do enough. It does not do enough. Articuno survives, hits the Blizzard, and both Ninetales and Landorus survive. And once again, there is no freeze on the side of Andrew Navarro's Choice Specs Articuno Blizzard. Now, Ninetales would not be able to get frozen due to it being a Ice type. However, if the Landorus had gotten frozen, that would have been a major play on the side of Andrew Navarro, being able to play into the snow that was set up by Don's Alola Ninetales. And now it remains to be seen what our trainers are going to do, as Don opts to keep his Landorus alive for a couple more turns here, switching out into the Ogerpon Wellspring. And Ninetales goes for the Blizzard, does not do enough to knock out the Articuno, but a freeze! Oh my god, a freeze! The Ogerpon is frozen solid! It's frozen! There is the freeze! Are you kidding me? And Articuno goes for the Blizzard into the Ogerpon. It does enough because of a critical hit. The critical hit going through the Aurora Veil. And suddenly Andrew Navarro has turned a freeze into a potential advantage. Oh my god, that is an amazing play just now. And Landorus comes back out, as does Articuno on Don's side here, ladies and gentlemen. What a play just now, ladies and gentlemen. That Ogerpon is now frozen solid, and now Articuno can go for a Choice Specs Blizzard in the snow, which might do major damage on the Articuno on Don's side by virtue of it being neutral. It remains to be seen which Articuno is going to be faster, ladies and gentlemen. Which Articuno is going to be the fastest Pokemon on the field? Is it going to be Don's Articuno, or is it going to be Andrew's Articuno? It doesn't matter. The Ogerpon is frozen solid once again. Landorus goes for the Earth Power. It does hit the Articuno. Articuno with the Snow Cloak still could not avoid a single attack in this battle, ladies and gentlemen. And Articuno goes for the Tailwind, making Don's Pokemon faster, but the snow does stop here on this turn, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, Andrew comes in with the Arcanine. Once again, Arcanine coming out onto the field, getting that Intimidate off, and it does have the extreme speed, which probably will do enough to knock out this Landorus here, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, with the Landorus being low health, it might go down to that extreme speed. Now, it remains to be seen what happens here, but the Ogerpon thaws out and goes for the Spiky Shield, so Andrew's Ogerpon ends up thawing out of that frozen status condition as Arcanine going for the extreme speed, knocking out the Landorus here, and Landorus goes down. So now Don is down to his final Pokemon, which is that Articuno, and it goes for a Freeze Dry into the Ogerpon Wellspring, which is protected. And seeing that there's no other option for Don to come out with, Don concedes the battle, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew Navarro is going to win our first game of this round 3 in dominating fashion over Don Sheck, with that Choice Specs Articuno going absolutely haymaker on both of Don's Pokemon in every form of the meta in 9 Ways to Sunday and potentially on Sunday as well. What a performance by Andrew Navarro, getting that win, even with Ogerpon getting frozen solid by Don's Articuno's Blizzard. That was an amazing play by Andrew, being able to rebound with that, and Ogerpon thawing out after only 2 turns of being frozen solid. That is a major play for Andrew Navarro, being able to thaw out his Ogerpon and keep it around just to potentially have an ability to hit more of Don's Pokemon and keep him in that position to win that game number 1. But looking back at that battle, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Don having that Articuno come out, being able to hit those Blizzards himself, that was a very impressive setup. Andrew going with that Arcanine, having that Arcanine in the back for the priority with the extreme speed is definitely a positive on his side, because by virtue of the extreme speed and the snow going down, then Articuno potentially could not hit the Hisuian Arcanine without it being resisted by virtue of its only attacking moves being Freeze Dry and Blizzard. Don would have had to keep the Landorus around, but however, Landorus had so much damage done to it that it needed the Ogerpon to potentially stay frozen solid and have a little bit more health to potentially be able to survive any hit from the Arcanine, because as we did see, the Articuno on Don's side, I opted to go for the Tailwind. Now, a Landorus Incarnate would naturally be faster than a Hisuian Arcanine, but having that Tailwind adds a little bit of extra confidence that just in case your opponent was going to be faster than you, without the Tailwind, you guarantee that you are going to be the fastest Pokemon on the field, which is the most important aspect of a VGC battle. If you can win that speed control and you're both running the same weather, the ability to work around that and play to your advantages and your strengths on your team, that is going to be the ultimate deciding factor as to whether or not you guys are able to potentially pull out a victory over your opponent. But also looking back, we did not see that Don opted to bring his own Arcanine Hisui in this battle or the Raging Bolt, and we also saw that Andrew had Articuno, Hisuian Arcanine, and Ogerpon. I don't recall seeing a 4th Pokemon on Andrew's side, so it's very possible that Andrew might have had Landorus Incarnate or something like a Raging Bolt in the back with that Electro Web to potentially have a little extra speed control on the side of his team, because the Electro Web and the Snarl both are very good speed control and attack reducing moves, ladies and gentlemen. Electro Web being able to lower your opponent's speed by 1 stage, and Snarl being able to lower your opponent's special attack by 1 stage. And with these 2 teams essentially being full of special attackers, Snarl is a major buff for these Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen. That is the ultimate factor on this team, with having those special attack stats being negated. Even a slight amount can do enough to potentially allow you to survive a hit that would otherwise knock you out. But both of our trainers are getting ready for game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. We did see Andrew come around and get that first win in this set, ladies and gentlemen. Will Don be able to prove why he is the Snow Master in game number 2 and force this to a game number 3? Let's get into this battle, ladies and gentlemen, because Don and Andrew are getting ready to go, as Don is going to have to battle a Ninetales and Articuno, while Andrew brings the my apologies. Andrew brings the Ninetales and Articuno, and Don brings the Ninetales and the Landorus. So it remains to be seen which Ninetales is going to be the faster Pokemon on the field to potentially get their Aurora Veil up first. As we do see a potential Aurora Veil being clicked on the side of Don Check, but we do see another Terra Orb being potentially activated on the side of Don. He is going to try to keep his Landorus around as Andrew switches the Ninetales out into the Hisuian Arcanine. And Arcanine goes for the Intimidate. Once again, not doing much because most of Don's Pokemon are of the special attacking variety, but Don activates his Terra Orb once again and sends it into the Landorus, and Landorus, once again, Terra Steel Landorus with that giant axe in its head. And we see Andrew also activating his Terra Orb once again on the Articuno to get extra power on these Choice Specs attacks, ladies and gentlemen. But remember, whatever move Andrew clicks with this Articuno, it will be locked into, as would be the Hisuian Arcanine, as it is the Choice Band variety. We see Aurora Veil come out on the side of Don's Ninetales. We do see the Sheer Force Life Orb on the Sludge Bomb not do much damage on the Arcanine by the Resist, and this is a very big damage on the Blizzard. No freeze is massive. And now with the Aurora Veil up, we do see a potential of if Don would want to risk clicking the Earth Power into the Arcanine, because by virtue of the Earth Power being a move, and Arcanine not being able to terastallize into a Ghost type potentially to negate that 4-time super effective damage hit, it could potentially be a big advantage on the side of Don Sheck. But we do see Andrew switch out that Arcanine, and in comes the Ogerpon, potentially predicting a Earth Power into that slot. But Ninetales opts to go for the Blizzard. A good amount of damage on the Ogerpon. No freeze once again, ladies and gentlemen. But the Ogerpon does take major damage by virtue of those two attacks, as Articuno goes for the Blizzard once again. Opting to play with fire here on those Blizzards, ladies and gentlemen. It is doing major damage on the Landorus here. But it remains to be seen what is going to happen on this turn, because Ogerpon could potentially be frozen again on one of these Blizzards, ladies and gentlemen. It all depends on what's going to happen, because Landorus is switching out on the side of Don, and in comes the Articuno on Don's side. Now, we have to remember, guys, with the Snow Cloak being active, Articuno will still get hit by the Blizzard, because Blizzard bypasses accuracy checks in the snow to always hit, as Articuno goes for the Blizzard on Andrew's side. And Ninetales goes down to a critical hit. Ladies and gentlemen, let it be known that critical hit absolutely mattered on the side of Andrew Navarro. We all know critical hits absolutely matter. And so now Andrew opts to keep his Ogerpon and his Articuno around, but Landorus comes back out onto the field. And Don is opting to go for a Tailwind to increase the speed of his Pokemon for the next 4 turns of the battle, ladies and gentlemen, as Landorus going for the Protect here to potentially provide itself a little extra recovery, as the Ivy Cudgel does go into the Articuno and does not do much as the Tailwind comes out. And now the speed is doubled on Don's side for the next 4 turns. But the Blizzard comes out. Once again, a Choice Specs Terra Ice Blizzard from the Articuno. How much damage is it going to do to Don's Articuno? Articuno barely survives. An amazing, amazing play just now by Don's Articuno, being able to survive that Blizzard with just under 20 HP. But now it remains to be seen, because Landorus is faster than that Ogerpon. Ogerpon ends up going for the Spiky Shield to potentially survive another hit. Landorus goes for the Earth Power into the Articuno. Does not do much. However, the Blizzard will come out on the Articuno, and it will be protected by the Ogre Pawn, but Articuno will survive that hit as a Blizzard comes out from Andrew's Articuno. And Landorus survives. Landorus survives, but Don's Articuno goes down. And Don is down to his final 2 Pokemon. Meanwhile, the snow has stopped. But Andrew does still have his Alolan Ninetales in the back to potentially keep himself around with the snow and the snow cloak. As Articuno's attack drops, as does Ogerpon's. It remains to be seen what is going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen, as Andrew could very easily switch in his Alolan Ninetales to once again activate the Snow Cloak. And that would help the Articuno out, but Andrew ends up switching out the Articuno and ends up bringing the Ninetales in once again. So Ninetales comes out here, resets the snow, and Landorus going for the Earth Power into the Ogre Pawn. And Ogre Pawn feints to the Earth Power, ladies and gentlemen. And Arcanine going for the Choice Banded Rock Slide. Single target hit. And it does enough. That is a one-hit knockout. A one-hit knockout on the Alolan Ninetales. And suddenly it's a 2v2. Don has pulled this game back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, it is right there. We might have a game 3 on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. It all depends on what comes out. But the Articuno is low health, and the Arcanine on Andrew's side will now activate the Intimidate. So while Andrew's Arcanine is neutral with the Choice Band, giving it that +1, Don's Arcanine is now essentially neutral. So now it comes down to what's going to happen here on this last turn, ladies and gentlemen. On these next couple of turns, these will decide whether or not we see an Earth Power come out on the side of Don's Landorus. It does enough. The Arcanine is knocked out. A 4-time super effective hit with the critical hit absolutely mattering, ladies and gentlemen. The critical hit would have no critical hit would have potentially let Arcanine live. However, there's the Snow Cloak activating, and the Blizzard comes out on the side of Andrew Navarro. This is a resisted hit, and it does big damage on the Arcanine. No freeze once again. No freeze once again on Andrew's side. However, that Snow Cloak will potentially help it out as the Tailwind peters out on the side of the Arcanine. But it doesn't matter because it does break through the Snow Cloak and does knock out Andrew's Articuno. And Don Check has forced a game number 3 in this best of 3, round 3. What a game just now, ladies and gentlemen. Being able to force that game number 3 with one of the best comebacks I have seen, ladies and gentlemen. That was an amazing battle just now. What a way for Don to play around the negated attack, playing through the Snow Cloak, and being able to hit that Articuno, and also, most importantly, no freezes on Don's side. While Don may have gotten the freeze for the positive in game number 1, him not getting frozen in game number 2 was absolutely massive in being able to force that game number 3 against Andrew Navarro. So now both these trainers are getting set for their 3rd game in this best of 3. One of these trainers is guaranteed to go to 3-0 after this battle, ladies and gentlemen. It remains to be seen whether or not it is going to be Don, the Snow King, or if it's going to be Andrew Navarro. So now when we look at these teams, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be very important to see how these trainers lead their game number 3 and who is going to be that ultimate trainer that gets that 3-0 and moves one step closer to those coveted top cut spots. Will it be Don Check or will it be Andrew Navarro? This mirror match is entering its final match of the day, ladies and gentlemen, for round number 3. Andrew Navarro, Don Check with the mirror match. Who is going to go to 3-0? We are about to find out once these trainers lock in their teams, and then we are going to see some awesome battling between these two snow teams as we see Don is just cautiously optimistic and Andrew is locked in. So it remains to be seen once they lock in their teams, ladies and gentlemen, as we are getting ready for game number 3. Andrew has locked in his team. Don has locked in his team. One of these trainers is going to 3-0 in the Nerdy Needs Midseason Showdown. Who is it going to be? Let's find out right now in game number 3 of round 3 here at the Nerdy Needs Midseason Showdown. We see Andrew lead with Landorus and Articuno, and Don leads with Ninetales and Landorus. So both Landoruses are on the field, ladies and gentlemen. And now it remains to be seen what is going to happen here, because as we know, Ninetales is the fastest Pokemon on the field. However, both these Landoruses do have the opportunity for either an Earth Power or a substitute, or potentially even a Sludge Bomb, which would be super effective on this Ninetales right now, ladies and gentlemen. That is an important point to note, that Landorus would be super effective on the Ninetales with that Sludge Bomb right now. And Don is activating his Terra Orb once again, ladies and gentlemen, into his Landorus, and it is becoming a Steel type once again, ladies and gentlemen. 3 games, 3 Terras on the Landorus into that Terra Steel. But we see Andrew go for the terrestrialization of his own. Is it the Landorus as well? It is the Landorus as well. So Andrew making a change up. He is not terrestrializing his Articuno this time. He is terrestrializing his Landorus into that Terra Steel. And Ninetales opting for the Blizzard into the Articuno and the Landorus. And the Landorus is frozen solid! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Landorus is frozen solid! That is 2 Blizzard freezes! As Landorus goes for the Earth Power into the Terra Steel Landorus, and it is enough! Landorus knocks out its own brethren with that Earth Power, and suddenly Andrew Navarro is down 1 Pokemon and his Terra option. Meanwhile, Articuno goes for a Choice Specs Blizzard, and another freeze! Are you kidding me? Both Landoruses are frozen solid! What a turn! Are you kidding me? What a turn, ladies and gentlemen. Both the Landoruses are frozen solid on that Blizzard. Oh my god, that was incredible. Both Landoruses terrestrialized into the Steel Terra. They both get frozen solid. Unbelievable. So now it comes down to whether or not Landorus will thaw out on this turn. Because if it doesn't thaw out on this turn, this Arcanine could potentially go for something like a Choice Banded Flare Blitz, which would be super effective, as Ninetales opts to go for the Aurora Veil and negate some damage on it, but Landorus stays frozen solid. And Arcanine going for the Flare Blitz, a Choice Banded Flare Blitz into the Landorus, and it does enough to knock it out. So both Landoruses go down, ladies and gentlemen. So both Terra options are down. They were both the Terra Steel Landorus. Arcanine taking that all-important recoil damage too, ladies and gentlemen. But now that Blizzard was a single target into Don's Ninetales. But now the Arcanine comes out on the side of Don and gets that Intimidate off. So now it's much like game number 2, where Andrew had the neutral Banded Arcanine. It is now a -1 Banded Arcanine, while Don's Arcanine is locked into a +1 by virtue of that Choice Band. But now it comes down to, can the Arcanine potentially avoid or be able to hit that Articuno once again through the Snow Cloak, as the Alolan Ninetales comes out on the side of Andrew Navarro, as Ninetales goes for a Helping Hand into the Hisuian Arcanine. This is going to do big damage if it hits. As Arcanine goes for the Rock Slide, it hits both of them, and it's a double 1-hit knockout! Even though Articuno took damage already, the Ninetales definitely goes down to a 1-hit knockout, but the Articuno could not be cloaked by the snow, and it goes down! And now Andrew comes back in with his Arcanine. It is his last Pokemon on the field, ladies and gentlemen, and it comes down to essentially who is going to be the faster Hisuian Arcanine here. I honestly do not know what is going to happen here. However, this Arcanine is locked into whatever move it's going to click as Arcanine switches out on the side of Dawn. And in comes Articuno on the side of Andrew. Ninetales going for the Blizzard into the Arcanine. And no freeze, but a Rock Slide comes out. And the Ninetales goes down. However, the Articuno does not go down by virtue of the Snow and the Aurora Veil. If the Aurora Veil was not up, I think Arcanine might have gotten a double one-hit knockout there, ladies and gentlemen. However, there comes out the Intimidate, lowering that Arcanine's attack. And Articuno going for the Protect on the side of Dawn. So it comes down to which Arcanine is the faster. Arcanine on Dawn's side goes first, and it's enough. And Dawn, check somehow, some way. What a performance by the Snow King, playing through the snow, playing to his advantages, and proving why he is the Snow King, moving to 3-0 at the Nerdy Needs Midseason Showdown. What a set, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot, I'm shaking right now. I am shaking. I have goosebumps just watching that mirror match, ladies and gentlemen, because Dawn and Andrew played absolutely insane in this battle, as Dawn once again proves why he is the Articuno master. He was saying before this tournament, ladies and gentlemen, that he was a little bit bummed about Snow being potentially getting those calcs used now that it won the Utrecht special event, but he has proven that it doesn't matter what your calcs are against the Snow. When you're battling me and I'm running the Snow, good luck stopping me, because I'm coming and you're in my way. Get out of the way or get frozen. As evidenced by freezing that Ogerpon in game number 1 and getting that freeze on the Landorus in game number 3. That freeze was absolutely crucial on that Landorus, because by Landorus staying frozen, it allowed his Landorus to get that all-important one-hit knockout on the Landorus. He essentially called a Terra Steel on the Landorus on Andrew's side. And it just remains to be seen what was going to happen on Andrew's side. But that was an incredible game, ladies and gentlemen. I am so... I don't even have the words. I really don't have the words for this, guys. That's how good this battle was. Both these trainers proving why they are some of the best that we have to offer here at the Nerdy Needs Midseason Showdown. Donchek moving to 3-0, moving one step closer to that top cut, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, guys, that is one of the best mirror matches we will ever see. That is one of the best mirror matches we will ever see. And based on that, I don't even know what we're going to see in round number 4, ladies and gentlemen, but we will be back with round number 4 momentarily once we have that pairing. And please stick around for more amazing video game action here at the Nerdy Needs Midseason Showdown.